Hello and welcome to another Leica review. Recently, Leica has announced, actually not announced, but it has been registered in Asia for a new lens that will be coming up through Leica's range of lenses for the M series. It's a 75mm f1.25, reputedly to be called a Noctilux, which means the eye of the night. Now, as you may know, Leica already has a 50mm, which is very famous and has been in production for over 30 years. And this new lens they had, which was produced more recently and designed by Peter Carp, has been a legendary lens at 0.95. The previous version, however, was f1.0, and then prior to that, it was f1.2. Now, we see a progression of faster and faster lenses. And when we see the 75mm that is going to be announced probably in the next 2 to 3 months, we are seeing a faster and faster lenses being brought in to the market. Now, I would like to discuss how this lens came about and look at other opportunities that might come up from using these faster lenses. First of all, of course, we should look at the 50mm f0.95 Noctilux. Speedily, the lens is going to be based upon this design, which was a design by Peter Carp. Now, the reason I say that is very important because if you look at the previous versions of lenses that were produced as 75mm and 80mm, which was the R series, R mount actually, it was a f1.4, a Simulux. And of course, Leica did produce a 75mm Simulux, which they stopped the production of. Instead, they did 75mm f2. Now, the reason I mentioned this is very important because the 75mm, which was the design that was done by Dr. Walter Mandler, which this happens to be his favorite lens and it's my favorite lens, was also the lens that was based upon the design of the Noctilux, which is the 50mm 1.0. This 1.0 lens was designed by Dr. Walter Mandler, and it uses a 60mm filter thread and is a little bit less than the current lens. If you look at the size of these two lenses, you see the one that was designed by Dr. Walter Mandler is slightly smaller, actually considerably smaller than the current lineup of this 0.95 lens. Now, if Leica does produce this lens for the mass production as intended, we should see the design based on the current lineup of the Noctilux series. So the Noctilux will have probably its inherent characteristics in the 75mm. Of course, when we are changing focal lengths, the design will obviously alter, but the fastest and the speed of the lens will remain probably between 1 to 1.2. Now, in this case, it's 1.25, which is in line with the Noctilux series. Now, what's also important to see is the way these lenses used to give a very contrasty, very accurate image. Now, we expect the same kind of beautiful bokeh that we have come to expect from the Noctilux series to be in the 75mm. And 75mm lens will probably suit most of the photographers that want to use it for weddings or special events or doing portraits. And portraits often, when we use a longer focal length, is beautiful to blur out the background. Now combine that with the focal length of 75mm and a super fast lens, you will have a very shallow depth of field. What that means is when you are looking at an image, there will be a very small portion that will be in focus and the rest will be out of focus. And I'm expecting this lens to perform exceptionally well. Now, however, if you are going to use this for video work or anything else, other than just plain photography, which would require you to be very precise in your focus, then you will have to use it at apertures like, for example, f2 or higher, because maintaining a focus at 0.95 or 1.25 is almost impossible, even if you have the best of focus pulling or if you are using it with autofocus. Now, as you know, these are manual lenses, so that means you have to focus by hand. That means your subject must not move at all from the position they're in for you to get accurate pictures. Now, also, you can use these lenses to capture, for example, longer distances. Let's say you're doing a portion of a landscape or a portion of a building, then you can have a longer throw in terms of focus distancing, and that will give you the picture that you may be looking for, or the photograph you may be looking for, where you are taking advantage of the low light circumstances, or you are able to isolate a portion of a photograph. But I think the most important aspect of the 75mm is that it is putting pressure on other companies to produce even faster lenses. As you may know, companies like Nikon or Sony or everyone else for that matter have had lenses at f1.4. Now, depending on how and which format you use, you will see that using faster lenses gives you advantages in low light circumstances, but having a difference of 0.14 or less in terms of 0.14 from 1.4 to 1.25 is not going to make all that much difference if you are photographing, for example, in low light circumstances. What it will do, though, is give you that additional bokeh or the out of focus area, which may help you to better compose your images. And more importantly, why you are going to be paying a higher price for a Leica lens is the way they render bokeh and the way they do color. And I think that is why these lenses are a premium, and that's why you may want to pay for it. Now, what do I expect as price range? Well, I expect it to be somewhere above the 8,000 level. Now, as you may know, that will be way, way, way above what the other companies are producing. For example, if you compare it to Sony lenses or the Zeiss lenses, you will find that their lenses are, one-fourth, one-third the price. But if you are the type of person that says, okay, I will pay an extra for a lens, and that lens I will use for decades to come, and that lens will differentiate me from everyone else, or my photographs will look particularly different, then you would want to pay that price. Other than that, using this lens, which is the 75mm apo, which means apochromatic, that means that you don't have purple fringing, might be the right choice for you, because this is going to cost you probably half the price and will give you a very sharp image. Of course, if you are shooting with 75mm wide open, which is at f2, you are going to get incredibly beautiful bokeh, and you would not need this 1.25 as far as the aperture is concerned. And also, this 75mm has extended kind of shade, which is wonderful, so you don't have to have an extra shade to put on. I don't know the design exactly what it will have as far as the 75mm 1.25. I'm expecting it to be the same as the 50mm, which uses this kind of a setup where you extend by twisting this like this, and it will give you that shade that you may want to use. However, please do understand that that lens, the 75mm 1.25, is going to be considerably heavier than this f2 lens. If you notice that just to have that incremental increase in speed of lens, you are actually going considerably heavier and bigger in lens design, means that you will have a 75mm 1.25 probably weighing around 600 grams. Now, one important thing to notice is the 75mm that was used here is about 600 grams. So if it's faster, and with the current technology, we should be expecting it to be around 650 grams. And I'm sure that the lens design will be something of a legendary status, which other companies will look forward to competing. And that is a beautiful thing as far as the lens design is concerned. Of course, it will have spherical surfaces and lens coatings to reduce flare and ghosting. But I do not expect the lens to be apochromatic. What that means is you might have a certain amount of purple fringing or a chromatic aberration, but that is not going to be major because the lens coatings will be very, very strong to reduce anything that may cause that. If you are very concerned about that apochromatic aberration, the Leica has the 75mm and has the 90mm, which is both very, very great lenses. And I think that if you are going to make an investment, you don't own the 75mm f2, you may want to consider f1.25 if your budget allows it. Now, I hope you have enjoyed this review, and I hope that you continue watching our reviews and help us to make our website and our channel much stronger by pressing that like button, also helping us with letting other people know about our reviews. We try to be honest, we attempt to be very unbiased in our efforts to bring you the best reviews and the most up-to-date information. I thank you for watching. Please visit our website at leicareview.com, and I'll see you in our next review. Thank you for watching.